Good morning, everyone. Myself, Ashu Sharma. I welcome you all in series of Python. So today we will see some of that concepts of database connection. What are the steps to involve? And we will see the general syntax that we will perform later in order for the connection from the database. And after that, we will create database and then we will create tables and insert data into those tables. So this is on the later stages that we will see. So today our main focus is in the general concept of that database connection along with some of the syntax and semantics that how to write that. And if you just miss my previous video because of there I just given you a hint about what sort of prerequisites in order to perform such kind of connections that we have to install the My SQL connector. So you have to watch my previous video, then you have to come on this video. So definitely you will gain that step-by-step process so that you will be benefit of that how to deal with database and that connections, all sorts of things in Python. So let's the very first point is in order to start with this is import MySQL connector. So how to install this? I have already explained in previous video. You may go through that video. Import my SQL connector. So before importing, you have to install this. The second is there are certain steps that involve in order for the database connection. Is first is import this MySQL connector module. Second step is create the connection object. So connection object is very important. Create the connection object. And number three is create the cursor object. Cursor object is very important for the point of view, you can say, is the aspect of executing queries to the database. So cursor object is also important. Then the fourth is execute the query. Execute the query. So these are the steps that you have to follow. First, importing that MySQL connector, then creation of connection object, then creation of cursor object, and then execute the query. So now we let us see briefings of this concept of connection object. Is some of the thing that to create a connection between MySQL database and the Python application, this sort of object is required, and we use connect method. Connect method because it's a method name, so it starts with small letter. Connect method to create connection object, and connect method is it belongs to MySQL connector module. So it is generally used over there. Is used in definitely it's a method of MySQL connector object. So there we can say that this is used for connection, create of connection object module. So this is important. Now we will see the syntax to use the connect is given below. The first is connection object. Connection object equal MySQL connector connect. This is the way that you will write. Then you may pass three things over here while order to create this. First is the host name, then the username, and the password. So host equal host name, then you will pass username, and at the end there is a password. So you may pass password also. This is the way that you may go through the syntax, and you may also pass one of that thing is database. So database name is whatever that database name is, suppose DB. So this also can be passed through this. So this is the syntax that connection object equal MySQL dot connector dot connect. Firstly, you pass host name, then username, then password, and the database name. It is optional. If you don't pass this, there is no problem. But if you pass it, it is okay. So this is also that syntax that we try to remember, and when we will execute in practical mode, definitely we have to remember the syntax. Now, printing the connection object, you have to simply use that connection object. Suppose you can say that just simply use print and my connection or connection object, whatever you have given here, connection object. So this is the way that you may print it using print statement. Now, there is another that creation of cursor object. So cursor object is also important. The cursor object can be defined as an abstraction that is specified in the Python, and it is specified in Python database API 2.0. So about the cursor object, it is specified in API DB API 2, you can say, and this is the BIBA question also API 2.0. So it is specified in DB API 2.0. Next is how to create this cursor object. We have to just use the that cursor method over there and just put it as I explained you that cursor object is important for executing queries into the database. So it is important that you have to create this before executing the query. It facilitates us to have that multiple separate you can say working environments through the same connection. So it gives us that flexibility of working in different environments through same connections and to the database. We can create the cursor object calling that cursor function. So cursor function is used for that. Cursor function, again, it's a function of this. So start with small letter. Cursor function is used for creating cursor object, and the cursor object is an aspect of executing different queries. So you may have in the database. So simply you will put this same concept over there. And what is the syntax for that? Let's see. We have to just create my cursor that's equal, and this is the object, and it's called that with the help of this object connection cursor and pair of parentheses, and then you simply use this concept and put these whole things together over here, connection object and all these things. So here you have to copy this syntax and put over here, okay, and then using this connection hyphen object you will put this curve, okay, and connection object dot cursor. Control C dot, and using this function CURSOR cursor. So remember the syntax, and then once you want to print, you simply print CUR cursor. So the value that given to this left hand side. So this is that way you may have this syntax of how to create. This is that you use this is connection. So this is the syntax to create that connection object, and this is the syntax you create this given cursor object. So thank you very much for being with me in this session. Here we have discussed these three steps. The concept behind first is the import mysql.connector. As I discussed, you have to just copy that given link I described in the previous video and just download that archived file and just trace the path, and finally you install that and check that on that shell prompt that whether you correctly install mysql.connector. That was the first step. And the second step is to create connection object. As I given you, this is the syntax that you have to run, and then to create a cursor object and finally execute the query. So till then we have discussed import mysql.connector, and then how to create that connection object. We will discuss this syntax as well, and the cursor object, how to create cursor object and what is the significance of this. So these are the steps, and in upcoming videos we will see right from the scratch how to do these things together and try to connect that MySQL database with one of that Python applications. So it's a sequence of consecutive lectures one by one. You have to go through all the lectures to understand the basic understanding. The main thing when we deals with such kind of that connectivities, we have to remember the syntax as well. Okay, so thank you very much. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon so that whenever I upload new video, you will get notification. Remain with me. Definitely we will see so many things in different ways how to implement. Thank you. Good day.